Tank is one of those roles that's pretty straightforward. Protect your team, deal lots of damage, and stay alive as long as possible. However, there's a few tanks that don't completely follow this structure. Doomfist, for example, is a dive tank and therefore plays a more aggressive get in, get out playstyle. Another tank who's like this is Wrecking Ball. He's probably the hero with the most mobility in the game, with his grappling hook allowing him full 360-degree movement and access to the high ground with the new repel ability. In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how to play Wrecking Ball, as in this current patch, he might actually be the strongest tank. Sure, his damage from his guns isn't amazing, but everything else about him is. I'll get into it in a minute, but first, I'm gonna ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video, as I want to continue making Overwatch 2 related content that's not only entertaining, but educational too. First things first, kit breakdown, because it's important to know what does what before learning a new hero. Ball's primary ability is his grappling hook. As I mentioned before, this gives a full 360-degree movement from wherever you tether, allowing you to enter a charge that deals a lot of damage to enemies if you build up enough momentum. They've recently given him the ability to repel to the tether point of his grappling hook, making it easier to traverse the maps and get the high ground if you tether up high. When airborne, you can use Pile Driver to send you hurtling back down to the ground, dealing a bunch of damage to enemies unfortunate enough to be stood underneath you. His secondary ability is his Adaptive Shield, which grants him temporary overhealth which scales with however many enemies are nearby. If you go in and all 5 enemies are there, you'll be getting the max overhealth. This can be transferred to your teammates if they need extra health in the fight. Say one of your supports is just getting absolutely destroyed by the enemy tracer in the backline. You can help them by falling back and transferring your shield to them. He also has the ability to turn to ball form and back, but I don't really need to explain that because it's pretty self-explanatory. My first tip for learning how to play Wrecking Ball is to take a passive-aggressive playstyle. What I mean by this is you don't have to constantly go in and slam to get kills. You can play a little bit back from the enemy team and farm ult, just doing a little bit of damage here and there until it's time for you to go in and secure some kills. You can go in when the enemy team is on full health and secure kills pretty easily, but going in when the enemies are already pretty low basically guarantees you the kill because of how much damage you do. People seriously underestimate how strong Ball is because his guns don't do amazing damage, but most of his damage comes from abilities in Ball form, like Charge and Pile Drive. This brings me on to my second tip for learning how to play Ball, and that's to grapple up high to allow you to dive in the backline. By grappling up high, you give yourself free high ground and allow yourself to easily dive the enemy team's backline. You can very easily fly over the entire map by grappling up high and building up enough momentum to catapult yourself, allowing you to get a big slam on the backline and clear out the enemy supports really easily. This is how Ball reaches his max potential. Go in on the high ground, slam, finish off the enemies with your gun, get out, rinse and repeat. It does take a little bit of skill, but people tend to say he has the highest skill ceiling, which I completely disagree with. It's just a matter of knowing what to do and when to do it. My third tip for learning how to play Wrecking Ball is to learn how and when to properly use your ult, Minefield. Minefield is a really good ult because it can force enemies to play in a specific zone or just flat out be used on an enemy to secure a free kill. What you see a lot of players do with their ult, me included, is go in and use Pile Driver to boost the enemies up into the air, stunning them, and then use Minefield underneath them to get a free kill. Again, this is something that a lot of people underestimate about Ball, but a good Ball player will always get a kill with their ult because it's actually a lot harder to not get a kill with Minefield than it is to get a kill with Minefield, unless you're using it to zone the enemy team, but that's a different circumstance. My fourth and final tip for learning how to play Wrecking Ball is to use your Adaptive Shield sparingly. Remember, you get max shields from being around the entire enemy team because it scales per enemy, so use it when you're already in the fight to stabilize yourself. Your supports probably won't be able to heal you if you're in the enemy backline, so it's your job to keep yourself alive by picking up health packs and timing your Adaptive Shield accordingly. But that just about does it for this video. Now, take all this information and go and play Ball, because after this recent patch, I think he might be the strongest tank when it comes to survivability and self-sustainability. He doesn't need to play with the rest of his team. His job is to be a pain in the ass for the enemy team in their own backline. If they're not playing a direct counter like Sombra, Cassidy, or Ana, it's free reign for him. Hell, even if they are playing those, he can still absolutely destroy them. He's quite literally an unstoppable force at this point. It's insane. Anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, I'm going to ask you to like this video, as it lets me know that you find these videos not only to be helpful, but entertaining. Hopefully this has given you the confidence to go and learn Wrecking Ball, because not only is he super strong, he's actually really fun. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure to check out my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.